Hey. Welcome back to Color Commentary. I'm Ramiro Castro Jr. I'm hyped. With me, as always, is Jason J-Mar Martinez. Week 1 is over, and now we're going to recap the results. J-Mar, your one-and-done league. I'd like to lead with you. You tell me how you squeaked by with a victory.
So Jalen Hurts is my QB. Although he did not have the greatest passing game, he's passed for 152 yards. He was all about that rushing yards on the ground attack. 62 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He scored 25.8 points for me. Thank you, Jalen Hurts. You're a rock star.
I have him on 2 of my teams, so I was definitely doing a dance on Thursday to see how well he did. This week, a few other quarterbacks showed up, like a Justin Fields, and scored a whole bunch of points. Some I didn't expect either, like an Aaron Rodgers. So I was like, let's see, will the elite start to separate themselves? But it is just week 1. So, all right, like Hurts fans, Hurts owners feel good this week.
My RB1, I have Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously. Tough matchup against Green Bay at Lambeau. He rushed for 19 rushing yards, and it could have been a disastrous first week for him. Luckily, they throw him the ball. He had 10 receptions for 31 yards. He was able to cobble 15 points for me.
And in your league, is it a point per reception?
Yes, sir. We are a PPR league.
Yeah, I have a half point. So, it makes a big difference whether it's a full or a half. So, his week did not look good if you just looked at the yards. But, getting all those receptions, he was really, really used. And you did keep him and Jalen Hurts are your top 2 guys. Do you feel like he's going to show up next week versus the Bears and rip off 100 yards?
The Bears. It's a home game for Detroit. They play different in that dome, Ford Field there. I feel as if I'm going to start him, and that he'll have a bounce back game, hopefully. The Bears defense was, I wouldn't say they were exposed, but
they
eventually
tired.
just got tired, man. That's what happened. They just got tired. They got tired from being on the field too long. So it's an interesting matchup. They're both 0-1. They're both going to chase that first victory, get it out of the way. So I expect a very hard, tough game in Detroit, and it's almost like a coin flip as to who wins that game. I think that you're gonna hate me, man. I feel like you got to give the edge to Detroit in that game, but anything can happen. It's football. So, but
I have the stats right in front of me. So if an NFL team starts 0-2, and we're going all the way back to 1990. Only 32 teams have made the playoffs. That is less than a 12% success rate. So that game is extremely important to both teams and, of course, to my Bears. And I am a realist. I think the Bears are going to lose that game. And I hope they're one of the 12% that make it to the playoffs. But to be honest, I think we're going to be outgunned. I think Detroit is going to want to win. And the only way we win is if Caleb is as good in that first half as the second half. So we're still waiting for that second half magic from Caleb.
I also find it odd that the NFL scheduled 2 divisional games back to back at the beginning of the season for both of those teams, right? It's Detroit. They play Green Bay. Now there's another tough divisional game against the Bears, and you guys just face the Vikings. I think that's kind of unfair scheduling there, if you ask me.
100%. Who's your running back too?
Breece Hall, the lovely Breece Hall, and he was one of the heroes for my team, who had 107 rushing yards, 2 receptions for 38 receiving yards. No touchdowns, but he was able to cobble 16.85 points for me. Thank you, Breece Hall. I watched that game, and he looked spectacular. I was very, very happy watching that game, seeing his production and the way how he had that burst and just awareness. He's an exciting back. He looks like he's back. I'm just praying that the football gods keep him healthy all year.
In my second draft, I had my finger hovering over Ken Walker at Breece Hall, and I went with Breece Hall, and I'm happy this week. But I think it's good news for him for the rest of the year because he was used so much, and Justin Fields does open the system more. I feel like that swap was this amazing thing that happened for both teams. Like Aaron Rodgers is happier as a Steeler, Justin Fields is happier as a Jet. It was this world where like friends were dating friends and they were just dating the wrong friend, and so like they switched off and now everybody's happier. Again, just week one. This might be the honeymoon stage, but hey, I'm a Brees Hall owner. I felt good about the results.
Dude, I have Jerry Jeudy, rocking my WR1 spot just for now. 5 receptions for 66 yards, not the flashiest performance, but he did get past the double-digit line for me. He had 11.6 points for me. Hopefully he'll find some better success against Baltimore, since it seems that Baltimore had a tough time stopping Buffalo in general. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good energy, Jerry Jeudy, bounce back for us and get some mega points next week.
Well, it's Joe Flacco, and they threw the ball a lot. So the biggest difference between him and Cedric Tillman was the touchdown. And so, if Jerry Jeudy got the touchdown, we'd be dancing in the streets, because both you and I have Jerry Jeudy on our teams, and we both talked about how he could be an excellent fit in this offense with a very, throw first minded team. So I think pretty happy with the result. He will be used, and we'll just see if Cedric Tillman will continue to be a problem for Jerry Jeudy owners. I don't think so. I think Jerry Jeudy is the WR1 and will have more yards and more points at the end.
Crossing our fingers, man. Then I have Drake London, right, who was another stud on my team. 8 receptions, 55 yards. He's getting looks, right? He didn't get the touchdowns, but that was a tough game against Tampa Bay. Also a divisional game for those guys. Divisional games are just different. They carry a lot of baggage and rivalries and weird things between coaches and players, fan bases even.
They hit different. I mean, they're studying their divisional opponents more because they're going to be facing them more often. So it makes sense that this time Drake London didn't come through with a touchdown. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I drafted him because I think Michael Penix Jr. will have a great second year. He's already off to a great start. I hope Drake London comes back soon and can then start on my fantasy team as well.
Yeah, Michael Penis. Sorry.
You keep messing with the ratings of our podcast.
I know.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's right there. Michael Penix Jr., man. I mean, he's also
probably had
way older.
Guy had to deal with that he had to deal with that all his life, and now the jerkies of the
J-Mars of the world.
He's got to deal with it IRL, and sorry, Michael. It was
it's just right there.
I went for the cheap laugh. My bad. Sorry,
I did
buddy.
laugh.
Mark Andrews, of course, was my big disappointment. Only 1 target, 5 yards, 1.5 points. It definitely would have padded my panic if he had a decent game, but that was not the case.
We talked through that. You were unsure, and I was telling you you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay. I see him having a way better week 2. So we'll come back next week and see if I'll eat crow or not. But I think Mark Andrews, let's just say 3 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. Calling it right now, J-Mar.
I'm not going to be an alarmist, and I'll probably end up starting him against Cleveland as opposed to starting Zach Ertz against Green Bay.
I think you're making the right move. It's still early in the season, and you already have a win. So I think you have a little bit of room to still rely on your higher draft pick there, J-Mar.
Cortland Sutton, the big stud for me. Gosh, that guy just keeps producing, and I'm so fortunate that he has, because I've had him a couple years now. Love him. Great, just clutch. That's his title. He's clutch. 6 receptions, 61 yards, receiving touchdown, 18.1 points.
Clutch Lynn Sutton is what you're saying.
Yeah, Clutchland Sutton, man. I love him. Yeah.
Bo Nix had a bad game, and he still found a way to feed his man Sutton. And I wish I had him on one of my teams. He slipped by somewhere around 4 or 5 when I was aiming for running backs, and he's definitely one of those players I wish I had on my team. I should have drafted Cortland Sutton.
Right on. Jake Bates, my kicker, had 7 points. I'm not going to panic there because I feel like if he nailed 2 field goals in the game and had an extra point, that's a decent outing, and hopefully they'll give him more opportunities at home in the dome, kicking extra points and field goals. So we'll see what happens against your Bears on Sunday.
Kickers are the least favorite member of my team. I think I'm going to start saying to people, why don't we just get rid of kickers? I just don't understand. It's so random, and it is part of the luck. It makes it more random and more luck based. You could have a kicker that, somebody you don't expect. It could be like a Matt Gay, for instance, and he kicks 5 field goals because the defense of the other team is so good, but you just can't predict it. So if you lose because of a kicker, I wouldn't feel so bad. If you win because of a kicker, it's just like that little bit of a margin, whether it's 6 points, 9 points, 12 points. I find them to be kind of annoying, J-Mar.
We had in my league, my keeper league, at the beginning of every year, we have a couple of items that we all vote on. And one of the items this year was to get rid of the kicker position. It did not pass. It actually failed pretty miserably because I think there are a lot of purists in my league that want to keep the kicker position. But this is a prevailing argument that I see is starting to trend amongst fantasy owners and fantasy leagues, is a call for people to eliminate the field goal kicker position. We'll see. I guess it depends on which league you're in, but for now, I'm happy to have. In fact, it made me even think if defenses should be counted in our leagues.
That's another thing. And I don't know, defenses is also it's a roulette. Who would have started the Chicago Bears defense, right? Maybe I should have as a Bears fan, and they got a pick 6. So sometimes, you just don't know how those things work out. I started the Cardinals, which was a very popular streaming option. They only got me 9 points. So it's those 2 positions in particular are a lot more luck than skill when it comes to fantasy football. But I think if you do have for instance, a Broncos on your team, you probably gave up a much higher pick to get them maybe, round 9 or 10. So now you're looking great because they scored 18 or more points depending on your league. So there's arguments on both sides. Okay, there's still some strategy there, but there's just so much variance in those 2 positions.
And realistically, both of those positions are kind of wild card positions. They could realistically make or break someone's week. If somebody's defense and kicker fail miserably, it could be the difference of winning or losing a game for sure.
It was the difference in one of my games. So someone had Denver and they scored 18. I had the Cardinals, they scored 9. I ended up losing by about 14 points. So there was a little bit more than just the defense, but yeah. So is that your whole team and then you have everyone else's on your bench?
Yeah, the Vikings scored 6 points for me. But yeah, everyone else is on my bench. I mean, I don't, we talked Javonte Williams. Maybe he could have gotten me if I started him a little bit more points for sure. Caleb Williams is on my bench as well too. He had a decent game, scored 26 points. Olave, Ertz, Montgomery, these are guys that are on my bench, and they'll be comfortably on my bench until something weird happens to any of those starters.
All of them are worth keeping to me. If I were to let go of one of them, did you mention Brian Robinson Jr.? I mean, who knows? He could be, again, a lottery ticket that comes through, but I don't think you're not looking for waivers this week, are you? You're not going to give up anybody to pick up someone off waivers, are you?
I might. I'm contemplating it. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to give out too much information.
Of course.
Somebody's
that's what I told.
Some of the guys in my league might be listening to this podcast and they'll say, oh, he needs a tight end. Let me wash him out of all the tight ends so that way he gets the worst tight end available.
The people in my leagues, I told them, if you want to know what I'm going to do, just listen to my podcast. And then
Genius.
Now you know. And so it's hey, I'm fine with losing if it's my advice that got you there. That's okay with me. All right, J-Mar, we're going to try this this screen sharing thing. Ooh, our heads got smaller. For those listening only on audio and not video, I'm actually presenting my team on screen right now. This is a Yahoo League. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. How does that look better? This is my team. So we have a Jalen Hurts. So let's go to week 1. Maybe I could do the recap. There you go. Is it loading? Okay, so you could see my team is named Dog Wearing Sunglasses. I like to do this thing where I just find my favorite, icon I can and just name my team after it. So right now I'm on win 1. I'm 9th place out of 12. I scored 102 points, which was 10 points below the projection. We were supposed to be pretty close. The Baltimoreans did score around their projection. So what ended up hurting me the most? Jalen Hurts overperformed. We just talked about Justin Jefferson underperformed a little bit, though. Like him catching that touchdown, I felt like, okay, I didn't make a mistake just yet. Picking Justin Jefferson as my number 1. It definitely scared me seeing JJ playing for 3 quarters and not throwing it enough to Justin Jefferson. I was wondering if I had a bust upon me. Drake London got hurt in the 4th quarter at a pivotal moment. So I'm going to lose him probably for next week or 2. That's going to be sad. I hope he comes back, but he still scored me almost 10 points. Again, this is a half point reception, so the numbers might look a little different to you. James Conner, there's good and bad news with James Conner. He was used a lot, but he only had 39 rushing yards. Those 4 receptions and the reception touchdown saved the day. But Trey Benson looks like he's ready to take that backfield over. He looked like a much better running back. So not great news there, and very similar for Aaron Jones Sr. He's got, Jordan Mason taking carries away and looking much better. So I really struck 2 seniors who have junior member running backs that are ready to take their job. So I might be in trouble when it comes to my running back positions. Evan Ingram had a not so great day, and he's hurt too, most likely. Devonta Smith we talked about. I'm hoping for better times there. Chris Boswell did fantastic. So I'm starting him.
Yeah, 60-yard game-winning field goal there.
That's
not bad.
And then the Arizona Cardinals did what they had to do. Let's look at my team, going with 2 older running backs. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I do have J.K. Dobbins ready to take over. I do have Trey Benson here in case that split is more in favor of Trey. I might start putting him in instead of James Conner, or if they become like Sonic and Knuckles, 2.0, then I'll put them both in. But otherwise, for my wideout, I might put Stephon Diggs in, or I might just start another running back and just keep Devonta Smith there. So that's how one of my teams is looking. What do you think, J-Mar?
I think it's looking pretty good, man. I mean, once again, it's week 1. Well, now it's week 2, but it's get week 1 out of the way. We'll see what these guys have got. I think week 2, a lot more answers start to get a little bit clearer. It's not necessarily time to hit the panic mode on players that have not performed well, but it definitely can add a window into what that could look like. Last year I had Adam Thielen on my team, and he did not produce the first 5 weeks, and then all of a sudden he just started developing this chemistry with Bryce Young towards the end of the season, and he was just off the waiver wire and ended up becoming a very good flex option for whoever had him. So just once again, you just never know. It's a long season. We're still only in September. Just got three months of this action going on. 4 months, so we'll see what happens.
This is my second team, J-Mar. If you stick with me, I, of course, had Josh Allen. I was super happy about it, and he scored 40 points for me. So you would think I would win this game, except I had Omari and Hampton and DeAndre Swift, who both underperformed for the week, but I have high hopes that they'll do better. In they had tough matchups, to be honest, and like I saw DeAndre all over the field. I saw Marion take 80% of the snaps, so I'm hoping that the points just work out better. I have Justin Jefferson on this team as well. AJ Brown, I think it's just week one. I think things will be better, so I have hopes for my team. If more of my players show up, I should be winning more games. Colston Loveland, we talked about. I hope he gets better as the year goes on. But I am going to draft. I am going to get a waiver wire pickup of tight end in case he has a bad second week. Jerry Jeudy did fine. We talked about. I think he will continue to be my flex. Roquan Smith. This is an IDP league. He did exactly as advertised. Cardinals again. I picked up. And they did okay. Jake Elliott also did just okay. I'm excited about my bench, though. So I have Rome Odunze and Michael Pittman Jr. sitting here, earning a great amount of points. They're going to be upgraded most likely. I'm just not sure where. I'm feeling like a Michael Pittman will take over this flex spot potentially, or Rome. I'm not sure. So like I have
both good options.
I have some, like, obviously I'm not going to move Justin Jefferson or AJ Brown at all. So it really is just a flex week option between these three. So that's going to be like a weekly issue. Also, when Jordan Addison comes back. So like, unfortunately, I may have too many wideouts. I might even look into trading them because it's just going to be a tough thing to guess whether a Dunze, Pittman, or Jeudy are going to be my best flex option every week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I think that that's going to be also part of the fun of fantasy football is, who do you start? Those two are just flip a coin. Their talent level is incredible, and they both showed up week one. Michael Pittman looked really good against the Dolphins. And Ramon Duze had some nice plays last night against the Vikings. So best of luck to you, man. I hope you make the wise choice, like the end of Indiana Jones and the Holy
I gotta
Grail.
pick the right cup.
Do you choose the Onduze Cup or do you choose the Pittman Cup, right?
100%. And finally, my last team, Hurts is here. Brees Hall, we talked about. DeAndre Swift, I have him on this team as well. And then I have the twin terrors of Neighbors and Collins, who both underperformed. So I'm hoping for better things in the future. Kelsey, I'm a little bit nervous about because he only had 4 targets, but he got that long touchdown. So, I felt vindicated in picking him as my tight end. I did go tight end earlier in this league. And, I think that he will get more targets, especially with Xavier Worthy out. We have Chris Olave as well. We talked about, he got banged up. He got hit in the chest. So, like, he really has some bad luck when it comes to injuries. And then I have the kicker from Washington. Is it Matt? Yeah, it is Matt Gay. I mean, he only had 3 points. So that's the danger of picking somebody from a great team is they only had touchdowns. So they didn't need any field goals. They only got 3 points. And then I picked up the Commanders defense who did exactly 10 points. On my bench, I've got J.K. Dobbins, who I'm excited about. Pearsall, I'm excited about. Ford is definitely a drop candidate as a scatterboo. I'm going to hang on to Allen as my Brees handcuff as well.
Dude, I mean, you got some options there, man, and it's better to have good options than bad options.
100%. So, like, I have hopes. It's not going to be every week where both Collins and Neighbors score under 10 points. So I did win this game because my opponent scored a lot less than me. Let's see if I can pull that up. Yeah, you could see that they just didn't have a great week. Their starters did not come through for them. And so that was my victory formation for that league. All right, so we're figuring out our podcast, but this is the first introduction of our newest segment called Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda.
I coulda, woulda, shoulda.
There's some coulda, woulda, shouldas. If you have them ready, let's hear them. I'll do my first one. I should have drafted Tyler Warren when I had the chance. Seeing him perform the way that he did and that there was nobody else competing with him, I had the chance in the 7th round of one of my drafts to pick him up, and instead I picked up Joe Mixon for some reason, but I also kept waiting, and I waited maybe a little too long. Again, Colston Loveland, I think will do okay. He was injured in the offseason, the preseason rather. And so I would do that over again and instead aim for Tyler Warren instead of Colston Loveland. And that's my should have.
Yeah, I could have drafted Garrett Wilson at one point in my draft, and I didn't want to because I didn't want to start both Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, seeing that they're both on the same offense, and there's a possibility that the offense might sputter. But after that week 1, it looks like they're distributing that ball super well against a pretty good Pittsburgh defense. And they both, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, lit up that scoreboard. So I'm having doubts now because I believe I ended up getting David Montgomery instead of Garrett Wilson, and I'm like, should I have, could have had him, darn it. So that's a big one for me. And then the other what I should have done, is definitely, had maybe started Javonte Williams, because he lit up the scoreboard in Dallas, for Dallas, against the Eagles. He ended up racking up 20.4 points in my league, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns. And so that might be an indicator of what they're going to be doing in Dallas, especially in goal line situations, is feed the ball to Javonte Williams. So he had some pretty nice carries in that game, and I'm a little stacked at running back. I mean, how do you not start Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs? But I do have that flex. So if somebody like Drake London is injured next week, I might have to slide Cortland Sutton into my WR2. And then for the flex, kind of got a bevy of choices here, which I could start either David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, Chris Olave, or maybe Zach Ertz. Olave, excuse me. Excuse me with the bad pronunciation.
No,
Olave.
that's what I'm here for.
So it'll be an interesting week for me. I have a lot to kind of contemplate, but I'm excited to see.
That isn't impossible. You have not a fun game to play with that flex every week. I think we saw Javonte Williams. I mean, like, I think you should have started him, right? And like or you would have started him, right? So maybe he's a better would. You would have started Javonte Williams if you knew he would perform so well, but who would know he was going to do so? Who would know?
Who would know? There were, in fact, all across the board at like every fantasy website that I follow, all of them recommended to sit Javonte Williams across the board. It was almost like he was the first pick. Like, just do not start this guy. The Eagles defense is going to eat him up. And they performed pretty well. In fact, if it weren't for a couple of drop balls and a couple missed plays, they could have had that victory. Which
in a different universe, if
in a multiverse,
Eagles defensive guy, if he didn't spit, right, like he got kicked out of the game, and so that changes everything. It made it a more even match where the Cowboys didn't have Micah Parsons, and the Eagles, I'm forgetting who it was, he wasn't there, and so like he probably would have done worse had that defensive guy been there. And so, like, yeah, man, I mean, like for this week, to fill that gap, which way are you leaning? I mean, me and you stuck a claim on Chris Olave, saying that he could be great. He had a lot of targets, just not a lot of points. Like, which way are you leaning for your flex this week?
You're thinking about Jalen Carter, by the way.
It's Jalen Carter. Thank you,
Mr. Spit Boy.
Yeah.
Man, and once again, it's football, right? Anything can happen. Anything could change. A loogie could change the outcome of a game or a score. It's just that ridiculous. It's like the Jurassic Park chaos theory, the butterfly effect.
No way.
So, but instead, we're going to call it the Loogie effect because
Lurgy
that's what it's the
effect.
Loogie effect changed everything in that game. Um, if Drake London is going to be ruled out for that game, I like I mentioned, I slide Cortland Sutton in my WR2, and then I would be leaning to put Javonte Williams in there. Either him or David Montgomery. I've got an interesting Brian Robinson Jr. on my bench as well too. It seems like CMC played decent that first game. It seems like he's going to be back for more game two, but there's some preliminary, I guess, concern that he wasn't even going to play that game one because of, I believe, a calf strain. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey had a calf issue.
Ooh,
And all of
good
us
one.
McCaffrey, anti-McCaffrey people were like, see, told you, man, he's going to get hurt. But he played and he did well. So, like, we aren't, done yet with Christian McCaffrey. He would scare, the ever-living crap out of me to start him every week because he's just going to get hurt at some point. And then you would have to hope that O'Brien Robinson or Isaac Orendo can fill that role. But, like, so to review, I could have drafted Tyler Warren, but didn't.
Yeah.
And for J-Mar, he could have drafted Garrett Wilson, but didn't. Instead, he got David Montgomery. For the shouldas, I should have drafted a second tight end if I drafted Colston Loveland because I had a sense that he was going to start slow, but I was like, let's see how it plays out. And now I'm fighting people on the waiver wire because multiple injuries, and the biggest one being Kittle. I'm competing with the Kittle owner in the waiver wires this week. So, like, instead of having anybody, I'm who knows if I get who I want, which I'm aiming for, like a Jonnu Smith or Brandon Strange. But like now I'm like, dang, maybe I should have backed up my tight end. Normally I wouldn't have two tight ends, but I took a riskier tight end late, and I should have backed him up with a veteran like a Jonnu Smith, and then I'd be set. And so we'll see how waivers turn out, but that's what I should have done.
Best of luck to you, man. Hopefully you get somebody that you like.
100%. Do you have another shoulda for us?
Oh man, I tell you, I got so lucky in my game. I should have just turned the TV off instead of stressed out about it while I was eating dinner last night. I mean, it was.
I like that, J-Mar. You surprised me. You had the same response when you were like, draft tips. Number 1, don't drink and draft. And you're thinking not just decisions that impact you in a fantasy point way, but in the enjoyment of life way. I was in those text threads with you, and you were sweating bullets like, oh, I just need this to not happen and that to not happen. But I think, yeah, at some point, just go out for a jog or whatever.
They just kept happening. I was like, I just need like the scoring to stop, and like there was just like scoring back and forth between both teams happened, and I was like, ugh, this is where I lose my game. This is where it happens. But I got lucky, so
100%. A couple more shouldas for me are I was really looking for some good veterans that people were overlooking, and there were two that slipped my mind or just weren't on my radar. And one of them was Travis Etienne, right? Like he was not doing well. People were even drafting Tank Bigsby ahead of him, thinking he would be the next one. And now Tank is not even a Jaguar. And then Deebo Samuel, right? Like he was not effective last year, but this year he had all of preseason to line up with Jaden Daniels, and it's paying dividends. I should have drafted one of those veterans on one of my teams and see where it goes. And so far, those look like great pickups later in like the mid rounds of anyone's draft.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I had Travis Etienne for 2 years, 2 years straight. And for that 2 years ago, he was decent, but his production really, really took a back seat last season. So I was happy not to have him on my team. I was like, I think the Travis Etienne, experiment is over for me. But seeing that he had such a good week one is, hey, man, you root for all these guys. They're out there trying. They're out there doing their thing. So
it was versus the Panthers, to be fair to us, right? Like it may not be enough, Travis may have a goose egg of a performance next week. But I think that Michael Pittman Jr. was one of those veterans I was looking at. I picked him up, and he did great on my bench. So like, I think I'm going to
Yeah.
start him this week coming up. If Daniel Jones keeps throwing the way he is, I was happy to have him. But these are like little hidden gems, I think, in the draft.
We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, man. I'm putting good energy for him too, because obviously he's he might even, be on my flex option this week. So um I think that there's a lot of hope for Chris Olave to perform well, and they actually have a pretty strange matchup against an already banged up San Francisco 49er team. Home game. It's over there at the Mercedes Dome in Nolans. So we'll have to see what happens. I like Olave, and he was able to
It's going to
produce
be a
something.
funky team. They may pull it out. I thought Spencer did better this game than most games, and they almost won. Uh, something that I would have done, J-Mar, is if I'd known that DK with J.K. Dobbins was going to perform so well for this week in fantasy, I would have started him, and I would have won my week if I put him into my flex spot. I just had no idea that J.K. Dobbins would do so well on a new team. We got week 1 out of the way. We saw some games, lots of surprises. Week 2 is coming up. J-Mar, is there a game you're specifically excited about for your team? Is there something you're really looking forward to? I mean, this Thursday we have the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. We saw their defense show up. Who do you think is going to win that game? I don't remember if you have anybody on that team, but that should just be a fantastic Thursday night football game.
It should be a fantastic game for sure. I do not have any members of either team rostered on my team currently. Oh, with the exception of Zach Ertz. So I'm still
Ooh,
hanging
that's going
on.
to be
If
tempting because then
Yeah,
you have somebody to watch on Thursday. If you just want to
that's
have
true.
fun, you're gonna
That's true.
bite your hands off if Zach Ertz gets like 2 touchdowns for some reason. So that might be a tough game to watch.
Guys show up at the for primetime games too. It's like the extra boost kicks in the more views they have, right? It's just a more energy kind of a deal. But I'll have to flip a coin. I'm either going to stick with Mark Andrews as my starter, even though he had a bad first week against Cleveland. He'll be against Cleveland this week, but Zach Ertz, I might leave him on the bench. It depends. It's going to be a game time decision for me. However, to your original question there, I have Green Bay slightly winning that game. I like the home field advantage. I like the way how their defense played against Green Bay. Um, there were some questions there on Washington as well too. I don't know if NYG has that good of a defense or what quite happened there, but it's going to be a great game, like playoff type intensity type game. I feel Green Bay squeaks out a very narrow victory on Thursday.
They are 3.5 point favorites. I'm going to go the opposite way. I think that Jaden Daniels brushes off the dust and dusts off the Green Bay Packers in this game. It'll be close, but I do believe that the Commanders have the muscle to win on this Thursday night.
I do, yeah, yeah. I mean, could go that way as well too. So that's why they play the games, like the great Chris Berman said. That's why they play the games. So
100%. Looking at the rest of the schedule for Sunday, there are no Friday night games, thankfully. Nothing on Saturday. That's past us. I'm looking at the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. To me, this is Russell Wilson might get benched halfway through this game if things don't go well. I might think that Jackson Dart might get a start after this game. It could be really bad news for the Giants. I think Dallas really wants to win. Like we said, going 0-2 is very, very bad for NFL teams. And they almost beat the Super Bowl champions last week. So, J-Mar, I have Malik Neighbors on that team. Do you see a favorite here?
I feel as if, gosh, I mean, they're both own one. Dallas looked really good against Philly. The Giants did not look good against the Commanders. I feel like you got to give the edge to Dallas, even though it's a home game for the Giants. Uh, I feel Dallas, they came out wanting to prove something last Thursday, so I feel as if they have a little bit of extra time to rest as well too. I think Dallas wins that game. I'm not going to say easily, but I'm just going to say that Dallas wins that game.
I'm going to say they win easily. The line right now is -5.5. I feel like you could bet that and win good clean money right there. I'm watching that game if only to see how Russell Wilson performs and whether or not I'll have a change of quarterback for Malik Neighbors and maybe a better fantasy destiny for my number one wideout.
Fantasy wise, I would want Javonte Williams to have a repeat performance of his game one against Philly. It'd be nice to see him score some points.
You know what's a game that I'm going to be surprised by most likely is San Francisco at the New Orleans Saints.
Whew,
With
man,
Brock Purdy hurt, Mac
George.
Jones
Yeah.
is going up against Spencer Rattler. All of a sudden, this game could be up in the air. Like either team could win if Brock Purdy doesn't play.
Yeah, correct. It's going to be an interesting game. I feel as if I actually I had Seattle winning that game against San Francisco. It kind of came down to the final play there in that game. San Francisco is a controversial team because of all the movement that's happened in their roster. People are expecting them to do good. I mean, part of that is that they beat New Orleans on Sunday. So I would put my money on the San Francisco 49ers, but I low key am rooting for a Saints upset because it'd be neat to see Chris Olave go off, and it'd be neat to plus New Orleans is just a great city, so it'd be neat to see those lovely New Orleans have something to cheer about for once.
San Francisco beat the Seahawks, and it was by a little bit, but they came away with some injuries. George Kittle's also hurt. So, like, I think this line is going to move. I think New Orleans has a chance to win. Uh, Buffalo versus the Jets is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, like, will Justin Fields, like, is he for real or will he turn into a pumpkin? Like, I think this is a huge test for the Justin Fields led Jets.
Huge test, and it's hard to go by the metrics of last year. Buffalo looked amazing on Sunday night with that comeback, and they seem like they're a better team than Pittsburgh that beat the Jets. But it's a divisional game, and it's at the Meadowlands. Oof. I mean, it's a flip a coin. I mean, I'm not that guy, but I feel like Buffalo would be favored to win this game, but
Oh,
I would
yeah,
not
by
but
a lot.
I would not be surprised if the Jets pull off some magic and get their first victory of the season there.
Wow. I mean, J-Mar, that would be incredible. It would be great for us fantasy wise. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. If anything, if last week taught us anything between the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers is that apparently defenses don't exist, especially when it's a rivalry. It could be a high scoring game.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Rounding out Sunday, we have a Philadelphia Eagles rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. I do not think this game will be competitive.
Oh,
However,
wow.
the line is very, very close. It's showing that Philadelphia will only win by 1.5 points. I mean, like, Kansas City does not have Xavier Worthy. They do not have Rashee Rice. Philadelphia has basically everyone. And as long as someone doesn't hawk a loogie, I'm wondering if the Eagles don't just win by double-digit points here like they did in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it's at KC, a very hostile environment. Um, I Patrick Mahomes is Superman. He almost pulled out the victory against the Chargers single-handedly. It was a marvel to watch. I feel as if that's going to be a very close game. I agree with that line. I feel as if the Chiefs even have a slight possibility of winning that game as well too. I would put my money on Philly just because that's the smart thing to do. But I would not be surprised if Patrick Mahomes just puts that team on his back, makes some magic happen. They want revenge, obviously. They got slapped around by Philly. Um, but Philly also, they looked a little kind of lazy and a little entitled that first game against Dallas. The loogie incident being kind of indicative of all that. So do they focus up and get championship ready in week 2? We'll see. Once again, it's week 2. If they lose, it's not the end of the world. So I actually think look, if I'm betting money, I'd have to do Philly because of just the that's what my brain is telling me. But if I'm gonna go with what my heart is thinking, I would think that KC wins this game actually.
I mean, it could go either way. I wonder if Patrick Mahomes can make his magic happen. Maybe Hollywood Brown is for real and continues to be the number one target. And maybe, we'll finally see Taylor Swift at a game and she'll get lots of camera time and maybe
About
that.
time.
Yeah,
I've been waiting.
haven't
I've
seen
been waiting
enough.
all off season for that moment, man.
She didn't go to Brazil. She will go to Kansas City. 100% she'll be there. That might be the good luck charm they need. I do think Philly wins and they win easily, but we shall see. Going to Monday night, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus your Las Vegas Raiders. J-Mar,
Yeah.
this is going to be a tough one.
You can tell I'm a Chris Berman fan. I dropped two Berman references in the last 10 minutes. Love them. I love my Raiders. Very happy we squeaked out the victory there in New England. A very formidable showing by Geno Smith. We've got some issues, and I feel like those issues will be exposed on Monday Night Football. Unfortunately, I feel as if the Chargers have a brand new identity, and Jim Harbaugh is to be credited for that. They looked really good against the Chiefs. They had some drop passes and some of the wide receivers looked a little suspect, but they just kept going, and the drive was just like, all right, look, let's just keep doing our thing. Justin Herbert looked real comfortable in the pocket. Um, I mean, look, I always pick my Raiders, but that's my heart speaking once again. Just the smart play is to put your money on the Chargers, obviously. So
I think this is an Amari and Hampton game. I think I finally see the promise. I think he could get 100 yards and a touchdown versus the Las Vegas Raiders. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I wonder if it's going to be as close as right now. The line has it at 3.5 in favor of the Chargers. It could go down to the wire. The Raiders have been getting better every year with their draft picks, right? We have Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers are still on this team. I thought that, Geno Smith was serviceable and, didn't make a lot of errors in their victory. So, best of luck, J-Mar. I think you're right. The Chargers do win, but I hope that your Raiders look pretty good in this loss.
we're an interesting team. A lot of sportscasters have been saying that. I think we win more games than people anticipate us to, but we also don't win enough to make the playoffs. So it's a rebuild year. We've got the oldest coach in NFL history, and I feel like we're just breaking age records left and right. So
Something to be proud of. We talked about it a little bit, but to rewind and go back to Sunday, Bears versus Detroit, I really hope the Bears make this competitive and maybe Detroit is missing Ben Johnson and we see what the Bears could become. But
I forgot about that storyline altogether. I mean, I was just thinking about the plays, the players, and fantasy. Like, absolutely, this is Ben Johnson's homecoming back to the team that he helped lead to a couple championships 2 seasons previous, but certainly a lot of success. It's going to be a very strange game for both of them, and so who knows? Maybe the advantage might go to the Bears because of that, because their commander in chief there knows that building so well. He knows what his coach is going to do. He might be able to sort of play chess, a game of chess between coaches, and see which which team makes the right move. And it's going to be competitive anyways, but I would not be surprised if that game goes to the last play, whether it's a field goal by either team or a missed field goal by either team. it'll be a great game to watch. So best of luck to you, buddy. If I have access to watching that game, I definitely will check it out because that's sounds like a competitive game on paper for sure.
100%. I mean, if my Bears go 1-1 and beat the Detroit Lions and the Lions start 0-2, it's full panic mode in Motor City. And I think that we'll have our answer that Ben Johnson truly was an engine of that team. I think it could happen. I think it could come down to a Cairo Santos field goal at the end if they clock manage this game right. Here's hoping, J-Mar. So that's the Week 2 preview by the Color Commentary Podcast. Thank you for listening to us. This is a much longer session than usual, but we're still figuring ourselves out. Please do all the things: subscribe, like, share, tell your parents, tell your brother, tell your sisters to listen to the brand newest podcast around, the Color Commentary Podcast, hosted by myself, Ramiro Castro Jr., and J-Mar, Jason Martinez. Thank you.